Hey YouTube, my name is JP Graves. So I'm gonna do this video a little different this week. I don't have a script in front of me. I didn't really feel like writing one. I'm just gonna kind of talk through some stuff that was brought up this week and some discussions that I had. So I want to talk about marketing and different things like that. Had a discussion with somebody about me making YouTube videos and putting them on here. And they said that, oh, well, that's really, really bad marketing. You shouldn't be doing that. Trying to create a YouTube platform, very, very difficult. You would better spend your time pursuing other advertising routes, essentially. I just kind of want to make a video on that. I'm not necessarily doing this for advertising. So I am an author, yes, but I also deal with quite a bit of ADHD. Having said that, that's one of the reasons I'm trying to make videos. I'm like, what is my writing process? Because to be honest, I really don't have a really strict writing process that I try to follow. Most of the time, I just kind of have an idea. Usually I have an idea for the end of a book before anything else. I have an end state that I want to go to. And then I just kind of go from there. Sometimes it's the opposite. Like with Crimes of an Empire, I definitely had a premise of a book as far as what I wanted to do in it. I really didn't have anything else, but I knew I had the end, and I knew exactly how I wanted to end a story like that. Same thing with In Darkest Dreams, except kind of the reverse. One day I was just thinking, like, I really, really like horror books. I really like reading them. If I was going to write a horror book, what would that entail? Well, I tried to follow Stephen King's advice. I believe he said in an interview, you have to, whenever you're thinking about horror, you have to think of, what are people naturally scared of? And I think it was Cujo he was referencing when saying that. People are scared of dogs. You can write a horror book about dogs, and it can be scary to, a few number of people. So I was sitting there, and I was like, well, me personally, being super isolated in the woods, done survival camping and stuff like that, being super, super isolated in the woods is definitely one thing that'll kind of put you on edge. I was like, well, what's the most isolated place that I could probably put a character? And that was, and I came up with the idea for the Firewatch Tower. It's like, those guys that do that, those people are pretty isolated a lot of times. They are usually out in the middle of the national forest, out in the middle of the wilderness, conducting those duties. Okay, so we got a location. Well, what kind of monster do I want? Then I was, originally I was like, oh, it's going to be like a fire demon or something like that, because they're firefighters on a Firewatch Tower. And I kind of went down the rabbit hole on that for a little bit before, I came to the conclusion that no, it's essentially going to be the embodiment of death. It's going to be this Lovecraftian eldritch horror. Embodiment of death is kind of what I was going for that book. So that's kind of, how I go about this. I mean, even the book I'm writing right now, with its working title, Writer's Block, I was like, I want to do something with a cabin, and I want it to be kind of in the wilderness again. I want it to be set in the 1960s, because there's going to be a larger arc with these cosmic horror books that I'm writing. The larger arc's going to happen in the background. Started piecing it together, and that's how I got, the main character is going to be an author, going through some stuff, goes on like a cabin retreat, and I just started going down the rabbit hole like that. So the reason I'm saying all this is I'm not making these videos necessarily to advertise myself. I bring up some of the stuff I've worked on and am working on actively as reference points, because those are the closest things to me that I can reference. I'm not trying to necessarily sell anybody my books or my process or this or that. I'm legitimately trying to tell people what my process is, because I'm fairly certain there are a lot of other people out there like me that want to do the writing, but they don't have the attention span, the time, or, I mean, I guess you could say the discipline in some cases to sit down and, watch a bunch of college lectures on how to actually craft a book and go through the process of creating all these character charts. And I know some people that go down the rabbit holes, they'll make, maps so they can plot out. It's almost like they're running a D&D campaign, if we're being completely honest. I don't have, I've tried, I just don't have the, I guess, aptitude to plot like that. I said in the previous video, I just kind of go with the dopamine on things, and that is true from my heart. I come up with an idea, I just start writing about it, and then when I see this shiny object in the story, I chase it down. That is 100% truth on how I craft my books and my stories. There is some plotting there, but if it's bright and shiny and, makes me smile, that's probably what I'm going to write about. And I will change, and I have changed entire chapters, and if not the entire plot of a book, specifically because I saw that shiny object. So I wanted to clear that up. Now, then kind of all that. That's just based on a conversation I had with one or two people this week. Some other things I kind of wanted to talk about is, TikTok got brought up. Why am I not putting these videos on TikTok? I did try TikTok, not exactly in this platform, and making videos like that, in my opinion, is much harder than what I'm doing here with YouTube. Now, granted, this had a learning curve. This was, the first video I made, as, in my opinion, poorly as it's made, as you all know if you guys have watched my videos in the past. High video production over here, or high quality video production, whatever I put in there. That still took me like 15 hours, trying to piece together how to do this. So I'd watch videos on it, but once again, I only have so much of my attention span I can put towards something like that. And with TikTok, with the way the algorithm works, if you're not posting every day, the algorithm doesn't push you towards that. So yeah, I'm an author. That's primarily what I'm on the platform for. That's primarily what I'm going to be talking about. But I also work a job 50 to 60 hours a week. I only have so much time that I can put towards doing stuff like this. I only have so many hours in the day, and I only have so much creative energy. Such as when I'm making the YouTube videos and stuff like that, I don't get to write. And I'm making YouTube videos because, I want to connect with more people that like writing, and I want to, kind of explain how I write. But then when I'm making YouTube videos, I'm not writing because all my creative energy is going towards making those YouTube videos. It is a horrible catch-22. When I made my first video, like I said, it was 14, 15 hour process. The next 2 days I didn't get to write at all because my creative energy was just completely drained out. I was tapped. I sat at my desk the next day for 4 or 5 hours, just kind of waiting for something to hit me. I did some editing, listened to a chapter, and it was nothing. I was just completely and utterly drained. That's one of the reasons with this video I'm not making a script, because I want to write today. And I know if I did a script and I went through all of that, I would just be so drained afterwards. I would like to know, though, if you are watching this and you made it, the 10 minutes into this video that it's been, do you have any questions? From somebody who's literally self-teaching themselves all of this as we go. Taught myself, how to edit, what the best editing program is, a lot of trial and error there, how to put books up onto Kindle, Google, Ingram, Spark, a few other platforms. There's going to be a lot of writers out there that are going to hate what I'm about to say next, but how to leverage AI for research purposes, such as in Darkest Dreams, it's at a Firewatch tower. If somebody can Google and tell me what radio was used in a Firewatch tower in the 1950s and give me an accurate answer, I will pay you. All right? I looked for like 3 days, could not find a definitive answer, but AI was able to get me one in like 5 seconds. So yes, I do use AI for research purposes to make sure that I am being as accurate in my books as physically possible. It is a phenomenal research tool. You don't use it to write. All right, I have dabbled with that. It writes like it's terrible at writing. It just doesn't sound good. And now I've just kind of dabbled with it, and not impressed. Doesn't formulate good paragraphs. Doesn't formulate good plots at all. Would not suggest using it for that. And if you are using it for that, shame on you. Reach into yourself a little bit, just a tad, and you'll probably find a story. And then, pay a little bit of money and you'll find some decent editing software that'll help you turn that story into something that's actually readable. I would just kind of emphasize, a little bit of self-motivation will go a long way. Another thing I want to talk about, I don't think I'm the greatest person in the world. I had somebody watch one of my videos, a friend of mine, and they were like, oh, you sound so arrogant. You sound like you have it all figured out. Remember, you're just a small-time author. I know. I don't think I have it all figured out. I'm not saying I do. I'm not saying that anything that I say is the definitive only way to do something, or that I have some grand insight into being an author and a writer or anything like that. For any video I make, it's literally just how I feel on a topic or what I want to talk about that day, something that I discussed with somebody else or something I was doing research on. None of my advice is to be taken to absolute heart, like this is the best way to do it. That is the best way for me to do it, not being trained in any of this, not going to school for any of this, and really not seriously considering publishing anything until late 2022, after I'd gotten pretty deep into writing crimes. I'd never considered this as a possibility for me, really. Never. I just never had that kind of aspiration. I had ideas. I had a lot of ideas. But I never considered writing any of them down. I never thought anybody would want to buy them. I started writing crimes just because I was doing a 24-hour shift at work and I was really, really bored. So I started writing things down, and then I was like, actually, this is kind of fun. I'm having a good time with this. Actually, this doesn't sound half bad. Ooh, that's a really good idea. And I just kind of went with it. This wasn't like, I was sitting there at 8 years old, and parents asked me what I wanted to do with my life, and like, I'm going to be an author. That's just not how that went down. So I didn't start writing. I was already in my 30s when I started writing. There's the ADHD. Completely lost my train of thought because I looked at my watch and there was a little shimmer and it just completely gone. But so yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to get across. I'm not doing this to sell books. I'm really not. I'm doing this because I guarantee there are people out there that have the same kind of brain as I do, to where we look up and we research and we do all this stuff and it does not click at all. I'm not doing YouTube because I think, I'm going to get the most reach and create the biggest following. I'm doing YouTube because I feel as though this platform kind of fits me better than, TikTok and Instagram, because I really don't care for either one. I don't care for short format videos at all. And I didn't expect to have 2 books published. I had never planned on being an author. It's just kind of something I rolled into. So the last 2 years, I've had to learn a lot, and I've really, really had to spend a lot of time reading, looking things up online, and figuring out all of this by myself, and what the path forward with all of it is. And I just kind of want to share that. Interesting statistic, it's like 86% of people in the United States want to be authors of some regard, or they want to publish something, or they just want to be an author and tell a story. 86% is a lot of people, and we're nowhere near 86% of the population of the United States publishing stuff. I think that says a lot about people's misunderstanding of the industry, and the self-doubt people have in their actual ability. But like I said in the comments, if you have any questions for me, I'll gladly make a video with them, or email me, and I'll gladly send you resources, or we can chat and might be able to help out or lead you in the right direction. I'm very set in a mentality of one team, one fight. That is pretty much been my mantra for a long time. We're all just out here trying to make it. If I can help, then I will gladly help. Point anybody in the right direction. If I don't know, I'm not going to sit there and try to BS you. I'm just going to tell you straight, I don't know. But I guarantee I will do a deep dive on that subject and try to find an answer and get back to you. Done that with a few people. It'll be like 2 months later, I'll be like, hey, by the way, I finally found the answer for you. But yeah, that's a little bit about my story. I think I'm going to start a new one, who is JP Graves, or some folder like that. So if you see it, definitely recorded this before I even thought of making a playlist of just me randomly ranting into a microphone. Maybe one day, I'll actually record a video of myself talking into that microphone. But if we're being completely honest, I've made videos like that. I don't like the way I look on camera. I'm a fairly awkward person, so sitting here staring at the camera looking at potential YouTube viewers, just don't. That's not me. That's not who I am. I've never really been one to be the forefront of the attention, and that is a huge oxymoron when you're trying to write and publish books. It's even to the point where, like, I didn't even tell my family I was publishing my first book until it was already published. I think the only people that knew I wrote Crimes of an Empire prior to it being published on Amazon was my wife and a few people at work, because I needed pre-readers. So in total it was like maybe 10 people knew. And then I didn't even put it on my official Facebook page, because, shocker, JP Graves is not my real name. My last name is just difficult to pronounce, and only about 10% of the population of the United States actually pronounces it correctly the first time. But I didn't even put it on my real Facebook that I had written books until I was getting ready to publish In Darkest Dreams. And that was a huge shock to a lot of people. They were like, oh, what do you mean that you wrote and published 2 books? That doesn't... nobody was really expecting me to make that announcement on Facebook. But yeah, I've never been one to be, put myself out there to the center of attention. Look at me, which is why I do videos like this instead of, just recording myself awkwardly staring into a camera like a deer in headlights while speaking into a microphone. But if somebody wants me to, I will consider it. It's just I don't think anybody wants that. I'd rather put up, these slightly comical videos that I do. But yeah, so that's a little bit about JP Graves. That's why I started doing these YouTube videos. If you did make it this far, thank you. I appreciate it. Hopefully, somebody down in the comments gives me an idea for videos, because I can tell you this, I'm tapped already, and I've only made 4 of these. And if you have any questions for me, like I said, I'll gladly answer them. I'm a fairly open book about most things, and I'm all about sharing information as much as I can. But that's it. I've been going on for 20-ish minutes straight now, and I highly doubt anybody's listened to this entire thing anyways, so if you did, please give me a like and a subscribe if you'd be so kind. I'd greatly appreciate it. And we'll talk to y'all later.